Well, it is the main issue on hotspots, and there's so many issues to look at when it comes to Nigerian football. I have with me a very eloquent analyst of Nigerian football, also international football, no doubt. Biola Kasim, good to have you on hotspots today.
Great to be back here.
Well, there have been so many issues in the world of sports, no doubt, particularly from the Nigerian standpoint. And let us start with something progressive, as we would say. It's not every time we look at the negative side of it. And it's good that we have said, as I mentioned at the early part of the program, that we seem to be having the kind of expectation we need from our youths.
Yes, I've been very impressed with what the age great teams are doing. Under 17, unfortunately they did not finish in medal places, but they qualified for the World Cup in Chile, and that's something for us to look forward to. The last team that won in Abu Dhabi only a couple of years ago also didn't win the African title. They got beaten in the semi-finals, so that's not to suggest that not winning the trophy is acceptable. But what we are saying is that at least the boys have shown a clear pattern of play. They've shown real temperament to qualify. And we hope that Emmanuel Amunike obviously will address a few issues that the team might have as we prepare for the World Cup in Chile. And for the under 21, I mean, they play spectacular football. Like you rightly mentioned, they're a product of 2-3 years' work. The manager clearly knows his players. The players clearly know the manager. They know how he wants to play, and they get on the pitch, and interpret. Apart from being a bit complacent when they go a couple of goals ahead, it's hard to find any flaw in this team. It's hard to remember that this team doesn't have players like Isaac Success, doesn't have players like Kelechi Iheanacho, who were the two main stars only 2 years down the line. What the manager has done is to infuse a few other players into this team, but the bedrock is still the likes of Alan Pasu, the likes of Musa Mohammed, Alpha, Taiwo Aoni, who has gone absolutely, go crazy in this tournament. So, the future looks very bright for Nigeria. Appropriately so, because right now the Super Eagles are struggling to put together anything cohesive. They don't even have a manager in terms of what they are performing on the pitch as well. Is a bit, unpleasant and quite honestly not eye-catching. So I'm happy for Nigerian football that we have a bright future to look forward to if we manage these boys very well.
For the Super Eagles now, good that you mentioned it just along the line there. We are talking of a team now without a coach, as you have said. We are supposed to have a friendly in less than 2 weeks. What is really happening? Just a few days back, I read that the technical committee of the Nigerian Football Federation says they are making progress in their discussion with Keshi. Where is Keshi? Is this a discussion on phone, or is Keshi in Nigeria? Or well, I don't really know.
It's difficult. To be honest, nobody really knows what's going on. What we do know is that there seems to be a reluctance on the part of the NFF to have Keshi back, and I'm not sure Keshi himself truly, honestly wants this job. Clearly, there are issues in there. He was first of all fired, if you remember, after the game against Sudan, and then he was reinstated before the calamity of the game against South Africa that ensured that we did not participate at the just concluded, African Nations Cup in Equatorial Guinea. Obviously, this is terrible for Nigerian football. In essence, we've not had a substantive manager for the Super Eagles for the past 9 months. Keshi's contract expired in July. This is March, and we do not have a manager. All of the other, period where he was manager, it was just, on short-term contracts or some sort of very, very, funny arrangement. I think that Pinnick Amaju and his board have got to focus on this. This is the flagship of Nigerian football, and to have let it, go adrift for so long without a manager, it borders on the irresponsible. And I do hope that the NFF, represented in this case by the technical committee and Keshi, can quickly find an agreement. If not, we've got to move forward. It's not a case of Keshi or nothing. If you want certain terms, if you want to propose certain terms, propose it and find some sort of agreement. If an agreement cannot be found, happens all over the world. Sometimes you negotiate, it doesn't work, you take a walk. But to tie Nigeria's football destiny to the inactivity or indecisiveness of the NFF and Keshi's own agenda is cruel on over 170 million Nigerians who find a lot of joy, who find a lot of expression, who find excitement in the Super Eagles. So I think that that's a big issue, way bigger than traveling to London to go and talk to a few young boys who have never been to Nigeria to come and play for the Super Eagles. We need to figure out this manager role. Is Keshi the coach? No, move forward. Is Keshi the coach? Yes, move forward. Either ways, we cannot, nature itself about a vacancy. This role has been vacant for about 6 months. It's an absolute disgrace.
Keshi's name keep popping up from South Africa to Burkina Faso to Equatorial Guinea.
Yeah.
Even I hear the latest is Mali. I see this as an ultimate distraction to the progress of the Super Eagles.
Of course, this is a big distraction. First time off, it was after the World Cup, I remember. And all of the talk was that we'll go to South Africa. They plumped for another coach. Then we heard about Equatorial Guinea as well. They plumped for another manager, and they did creditably well, we should say. They just concluded Nations Cup. And then we heard about Burkina Faso. Also, clearly was in the running for that one. He did not get it. I think that all of these, back and forth, all of this dilly-dallying, all of this yo-yoing, and the prevarication and lack of decision this is a new board. The Pinnick Amaju board is a new administration, and it's important that they take important decisions very, very quickly to allow things linger for so long. Whatever the notion, whatever the situation, for me, is inviting of disrespect, and I hope that they can finally focus on this, get it done so that we can move forward. All of these meetings with Arsene Wenger, with Jose Mourinho, with Pellegrini, as we speak, we do not have a kit supplier. We do not have a kit sponsor. So there are big issues bedeviling the Super Eagles of Nigeria that Pinnick Amaju and his board have got to focus on and resolve. To think that you can let it linger on without making a decision, like I said, is inviting of disrespect. And before long, people will start to look at this board as an unserious board. We are on the edge now.
Well, you just mentioned that it's a new board, but you can't just keep being an infant for too long.
Exactly. You've got to make decisions.
The current NFF is nurturing is a teething problem for too long.
Yes.
Right now, it should be able to take a stand.
Because I was going to say that they made a bad start by not qualifying for the Nations Cup, because they were the substantive board in place when we did not qualify. And so when you make that kind of bad start, the most important thing for you is to try and recover. And in leaving the national team without a manager for so long a period makes people question what you are focusing on.
And we're talking about coaching courses for coaches, referees course,
capacity building, and all sorts without a manager for this. That's look, the two most important things as we speak right now, if you ask me, is the fact that number one, the Super Eagles do not have a manager. Number two, Nigeria, if we're going to play a game tomorrow, we'll have to buy our jersey because we do not have a kit sponsor. Those are two important issues that can be resolved very quickly if you choose to focus on that, not to focus on young boys who have barely played a professional game and we are spending so much time and energy trying to get them to convert to play for Nigeria. What happens to all of the thousands of players who travel up and down the length and breadth of this country playing league football? Are we suggesting that those other boys who they are chasing over in England are better than these ones?
Well, thank God for the Golden Eagles and of course the Flying Eagles who are currently making Nigeria and of course will make Africa proud when the World Cup kicks off in New Zealand. And of course the girls, the Falcons themselves, not left out, but the ultimate of all, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, the flagship of all national teams. We don't know where we are going. NFF seems to be in the dark. There is a lot of teething problems. We hope that we get things right and put us on the right track. Biola, we look at the UEFA Champions League, the biggest club competition in Europe.
Yep, in the world actually.
It's as if the English club are again walking the tightrope. They might just be the endangered species in this year's UEFA Champions League, because Chelsea, with all expectations, went out. Arsenal will be going to a very, very
hanging by a thread against
being
Monaco.
Shocked, yes, after losing 3-1. That's a very, very massive margin.
Yes,
and of course. Manchester City with a very poor pedigree in Europe going to play against Barcelona.
Yeah, it's been a very poor year for England, particularly in Europe. Ironically, we all thought that Chelsea were the team with the best chance, of going through after Barcelona defeated Man City in Manchester and Monaco defeated Arsenal in London. We all thought that PSG coming over to London would just be a walk in the park. Remember last year it was 3-1 in Paris, Chelsea lost, and they managed to turn it around in London. This time it was a 1-1 draw. We all thought that it would be a walk in the park for Chelsea, but obviously the PSG players, had other ideas. We heard that they were on a bonus of about £80,000 if they qualified for the quarterfinals. But you look at how they applied themselves in that game, and you know that they were fighting for something way bigger than money. You can call it pride, you can call it honor, but whatever it is that they were fighting for, the Chelsea Chelsea players, just go to match. It's difficult to look at that game and remember that Chelsea were playing, PSG were playing for 90 minutes or thereabouts without their best player. They were playing with 10 men, and they matched Chelsea they matched Chelsea toe to toe, and they went behind twice and they refused to die. It's a bit puzzling because last year as well, Chelsea lost at home 3-1 to Atletico Madrid. We shouldn't even talk about Arsenal losing 3-1 to Monaco, now having to travel there. The first thing you must understand about Monaco is that they hardly concede goals. Even in the French League, they are one of the best defenses. And in the Champions League, up till now, they've conceded only 2 goals. So somehow, Arsenal have got to score more goals than Monaco has conceded in the entire competition. That's going to be difficult. And for Manchester City, you've got to say that once you lose at home in your own stadium to Barcelona, your hopes of going to the Nou Camp to get a good enough result to get past Barcelona, are almost impossible, particularly with Suarez in the form that he is in, Lionel Messi scoring hat-tricks for fun, and Neymar as well, also finding his scoring range. So I think that, like you said, I expect by this time next week that all English clubs left in the Champions League will go on and join Liverpool, and it probably will be the first time in a long time that no club from England made the last 8 of the UEFA Champions League. England is making, or English football, or the English league is making great strides off the pitch in terms of media, in terms of marketing, in terms of sponsorships. But on the pitch,
and retrogressing in Europe.
Absolutely. On the pitch, they are retrogressing and retrogressing fast. Note, PSG are a French team. They've knocked out Chelsea. Monaco are a French team. They're on the verge of knocking out Arsenal.
Well, I will be back with Biola to round up hotsports this Saturday. Well, it is the last lap on hotsports. Biola, we can't, although we are giving kudos to the Flying Eagles who are playing their last group match today against the young elephants of Cote d'Ivoire. We must also give kudos to the young junior athletics team that really came out with a spectacular performance in Ethiopia at the African Junior Athletics Championship.
Yes, you've got to give them kudos. Obviously, in Nigeria, football is the king of sports, but we should also, put any other team, or basically just focus on the other guys who are doing quite well, and give them praise and commendations and credit where they deserve. So it's good to see that in the entire spectrum of sports in Nigeria, we're looking towards a bright future. I'm always excited when the junior teams are doing well, because what that means is that however good the present is, you have something to look forward to going forward. If the Super Eagles are doing well, or the Super Eagles is doing well, and the junior teams are not doing well, you had better enjoy this moment, because the guys who should step up and put them under pressure and take their place are non-existent. But in this case, the Flying Eagles are doing well, the Golden Eaglets are doing well, the Under-23 team as well, we should remember, under Siasia, are playing some great stuff. And also, in terms of athletics, it's been a long time since we had the golden age of Nigerian athletics. These guys are showing us signs that maybe those glory days, might return. So, in all ramifications, a lot of great stuff to look forward to in Nigerian sports. We just hope that the administrators will get it right, because the key thing, Ufoma, is the transition from being young talents to being full-fledged professionals. The pressure of playing at the top level, of performing at the top level, is totally different from what happens when you're playing or you're performing at the junior level, and that is the key test for administrators, for coaches, and the athletes themselves and the sportsmen. How do you transit from being a successful junior athlete or junior footballer to being a successful senior footballer? The gulf between being junior and senior is where a lot of talents, never come out of.
Well, as we wish the Super Eagles the best today, we also
the Flying Eagles, rather.
The Flying Eagles, it's super flying. As we wish the Flying Eagles the best today. For the Super Eagles, we look forward to that friendly in less than 2 weeks. We hope it will happen.
Yes, against Bolivia.
Yes,
we don't have a team list.
We hope there will be no stories.
We hope so.
What I am thinking of is that we may be having the assistant coaches taking over again, and maybe just drafting in technical director Amadou Shuaibu to take the team.
We'll have to wait and see the decision that the NFF goes with. But the point is, it shouldn't take you so long ever to negotiate a contract.
We've never had it so long.
It borders on irresponsibility. What has happened? It borders on
it's like a protracted illness.
I cannot for the life of me understand what exactly is going on. It just beggars belief, really, and it's got to stop. It's got to end. This administration might not recover from these fatal errors that they are making, because to have lingered on for so long without agreeing or disagreeing Keshi decisively about the manager's role, like I said, is just taking Nigerian football for granted. All of the activity of capacity building and all sorts and all the travels will pale in significance if the Super Eagles of Nigeria are not performing. That is the holy grail. They've got to perform, or at least you should be doing your best to see that they perform. And there's no way a team can perform without a coach.
Well, Biala, I must thank you for being part of Hotsports this Saturday.
Great pleasure.
Well, that is how far we can go on Hotsports this Saturday. We'll be back again next Saturday.